Hey, Covenant family, welcome back to our midweek broadcast. We're so thankful that you've joined us. Please take a minute to drop a comment, let us know that you're watching. Today, our topic is being a representative of Jesus in our workplaces. And we're joined today by Nick and Dave and Rose, and they're going to talk us through that. So without further ado, let's go to Nick.
Thanks for joining us today. We are here. My name's Nick Ventresca. We're here with Rose Chomick and apparently Michelle Musari. But I think it's Dave using Michelle's account. So, guys, thanks for joining me.
I'm changing my name. Michelle sounds.
Yeah, go with Michelle. Why not? But yeah, so today the topic is how do we live out our faith in the workplace, and what does that look like? And I don't know what, whether there is really a perfect answer for this, but just some experience, because it's always something I've struggled with. I've wrestled with my wife, Christiana. What does that look like? I'm in full-time vocational ministry. I started in engineering though. So I was in that for a longer period of time. And yeah, what does that look like? Do we, if we don't witness to at least 3 or 4 people a day, are we not doing it right? If we aren't baptizing people at work, are we doing it wrong also? So guys, why don't you just, Dave and Rose, why don't you introduce yourself? We'll start with Dave and just tell us what you do.
Well, hey, I'm Dave Musari. I am a school teacher. I teach mostly digital art classes at Central Bucks East, and I've been teaching for over 2 decades. So that's been the majority of my work. And I also do some freelance graphic design work. So I have my own business doing that. So I have most of my work is in the schooling, but I do have some business acumen.
Yeah, very nice. And real quick, are you in person now yet, or are you still at home or for teaching?
Oh, sorry. So no, we are now at school, and we have hybrid setup. So half the students will come in on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, everyone's from school, and Thursday, Friday, the other half comes in. So it's and then we just have a mix of kids that are always all virtual, and so we are juggling.
Yeah. Well, man, grateful for your teachers and the work you guys are doing through this. All right, Rose, go ahead.
Well, my name is Rose Chomick, and I am a business manager for a mitigation and restoration, a construction type of company. And I worked for this about a year ago. I worked for the church for about almost 5 years, and then prior to that, I was in the had my own bookkeeping business, and then did. I've been always in the HR world, from Comcast to Starbucks, and so I've had both the experience in secular kind of work and the church world, and it sure is different. Yeah,
Rose was responsible for hiring me. So for anybody that doesn't like me, you can blame Rose. So grateful for you, Rose. It was awesome working with you. So I guess let me just ask this question: what kind of work environment do you guys both work in? We'll just keep going with Rose, but like, what kind of a work environment is it?
Well, okay, so I work remotely. I work from home, and so all the jobs that we have are in multiple states. I work with multiple people, but everything is via Zoom or virtual. But it is the construction industry, and so when I tell you that I went, when I went from a pristine environment where you can turn around and say, hey, let's stop and pray for something, to a construction environment, it's really different. The language is different, how they treat people, the way, everything is just drastically different about it. But I think, I've learned that I don't need to call people out on it. I am who I am. And I think that's my biggest witness, so to speak, is the way I interact with them. I don't think they're less than. They're still people. It's just how they choose to conduct themselves. But then I do get opportunities to speak into their lives. But those relationships I have discovered have to be nurtured and get to a place where they're open to having those conversations, especially because I'm never live with people.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Dave, what about the school district? Which school is it that you teach at? Which school?
I'm at over at East, so
Okay.
I'm right near the church, and I've been there for since like early 2000s. I was also in Connecticut for a little bit, but before then. But yeah, so my environment is pretty much what you all remember from high school. Only things are just a little
It's
bit
a
more
little bit like a construction site, the language.
Right. So yeah. So I have the fun, and I get to teach. The joy of teaching a lot of digital art classes. So that's what I was good at. Growing up I was pretty creative, and I did well with the arts. So I just leaned into digital arts, but yeah, and I work with teenagers. Those are the people that I work with, and they're most of the time they're a lot of fun. And but I'm thinking of pre-COVID. Now we have a whole challenge to So, but yeah, it's been interesting during these times to really connect. So I think that's really been the hard challenge, is just making a connection and making sure students feel just making sure that they can learn and get everything that they need. So I can't really put into words. I'm sure you guys are just experiencing it with your work environment, just the extra challenge and stress of throwing the virtual aspect to this. But
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I can't imagine at a teacher level and what that looks like. But ultimately, I guess I mean, when you guys hear this idea of be a witness in the workplace, right? So you guys weren't. Everybody's called to different jobs, different judging by their abilities and stuff like that. If you hear yelling outside the door, my kids are getting ready for bed, so hopefully that's not coming through for the mic. And one is very tired. But like, we can't all be working vocational ministry. And you guys, love Jesus, but aren't pastors at a church or whatever, right? So what does it mean to now take that faith in Jesus into the workplace? And when you guys just think about it, and like I said, I don't know if I even had a good answer for this for when I was in engineering. I'm still trying to figure out how to just, love Joe Lanzetta well at the church. But ultimately, like, what does that mean to each of you guys individually in your context?
Go ahead. Rose, go first. Ladies first.
Ladies first. Rose, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have to base it on individuals. And, I'm thinking about a school, whether it's students or whether it's coworkers, that I don't know. Dave may prove me wrong, but I'm just thinking it might be a little different having those conversations than in a construction world where anything goes. You can really talk about anything and nobody really cares. And so I have to base it on the individual relationships I have. And sometimes it's just the way I respond. Somebody saying I'm having a bad so-and-so, or so-and-so in my family just got diagnosed. And so sometimes it's about my response. I'm going to put you on my prayer list, and I will commit to praying for you, and just little things. I don't ever think that it's anything big and wow, but I think it's the way, and I guess those are the best connections I can make because I am virtual. But I think it's really, it has to be individual. That's what I think. And that's what I do. But
yeah. I
don't know. Is it different for you, Dave? Because I mean, like you are not as free to talk about whatever you want to talk about in the school world.
Right. So I always kind of make pretend. I mean, this is just the way that I've done it. I make pretend that that I have the kid's parent in the room, or all these kids' parents in the room. So because I work at a public school, and I want to make sure that every parent feels comfortable with what I'm saying and how I'm presenting myself. So, I mean, I would just love to share the gospel, but then I have that challenge of, well, I don't want to offend, so-and-so who has a different faith, belief and whatnot. So I can't go there, but there have been times where students are aware of my faith and they've asked some questions about, well, what church do you go to? Where do you go? We go there, and then we'll engage on some conversations, or so I almost kind of like let them take the lead. And I don't know, I just try to, I'm hoping that the example, how I act, what I say, really just is showing them something different and unique. And so Rose, like kind of, piggybacking on what you were saying about individuals, the whole thing is just relationships. And what I'm on the lookout for, besides, and I've told this to students in the past, when I get in the classroom, I'll just say, listen, guys, I love teaching art, but that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to just deliver curriculum. I'm here for you guys. I want to connect with you. I want to be your coach. I want to try to, if you're having personal challenges, I've kind of said sometimes our minds can play tricks on us. And this is kind of like a critical time where you guys are trying to figure out so much. You're trying to figure out what you want to do, your career, your college, just some big decisions. And, I think, being a teenager, as we can all remember, is kind of like a tricky time.
Yeah.
Maybe just being a human being during this time is tricky.
My dog has it real nice right now. He doesn't notice a thing. Yeah. So I just said to them, if you guys don't have anybody to turn to, you've got me. Mm-hmm. And so my goal is to make them feel safe, and I just want them to feel like they're in good hands when they're in my room. So I'm just kind of hoping that I'm sure you guys know there's just thousands of interactions that you have throughout the course of time when you're at your workplace. And I think that those little interactions, they add up to something. It's your character, it's who you are. And I've read before that I was just rereading The Purpose-Driven Life, and one of the points in the book just said that, God doesn't care so much about what you do. He cares about who you are and who you're becoming. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden I kind of let go of, being a school teacher, or, do I need to be a pastor? Do I need to be a rock star, whatever? But I just thought about, God doesn't care about so much this work, because all the stuff that we're doing is just going to pass away anyway. It's more about our character. That's what passes through over to eternity. People, and it's people and character. That's what gets passed. That's what gets passed through. So that just kind of gave me a new perspective on work.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's so good. Yeah, go, Rose.
I was gonna say, I love that you target the whole student, not just their graphic art or educational piece, but you care about their whole well-being. And I think that's terrific.
Yeah, even as we look at this idea of a whole person, whole student, I think one of the most helpful things that I kind of continually be reminded of is that this is a process, like our faith walk. And I think as humans, we totally blow up this idea of discipleship and what it means to love Jesus and point people to Jesus, thinking we have to be the ones in this interaction, in this moment, to lead them to Christ right now. And it's like, and if we're not doing this, we don't see the fruit of it, we don't see the results, and we're unsuccessful. And I think everything is so hurried and rushed sometimes when we think about being a witness in our places of work and even just in our every day-to-day life. And I think Dave, kind of like what you were saying with just saying, hey, I'm here for you first as a student. I love to teach this stuff. I love to talk about it, but I'm here for you first. That just that just ignites something different in them, or
Yeah.
in you that they see.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's, I don't know. I just think my heart, I've thought about all the stuff that they've been wrestling with. I pay attention to some of the statistics about, I mean, I hate to even say it, but, you know, some of the morbid rates about suicide and whatnot, how that's just really climbed. And, you know, my heart just goes out for these kids. They're really just, you know, I just think as adults, we're struggling with how do I deal with social media and this modern world and how it just can be taxing on us. And I just think, gosh, teenagers are trying to figure out themselves, and they're trying to figure out how to just navigate all this as well as the social aspect. And so I don't know. I just think my immediate feeling is just, I want to give students this ability.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that here's my logic. I'm just thinking that if I show them the character of Christ, the decency of Christ, the compassion of Christ, they've got to be looking at me thinking there's something about him. There's something there. And perhaps we'll have a conversation later, after they graduate, or maybe maybe there's going to be a breakdown at some point during lunch. And that's happened before in the past. They've come in, and sometimes we've had some heart to hearts where students have needed to confide, and this has been, I think a lot of teachers can kind of, share in this, that, you definitely make certain connections with certain students that just, you kind of share the same vibe. And
right.
Well, I think you can help them out. You can get them on the right path. And sorry, I feel like I'm going on.
No, that's
great.
Good. Rose, you said that you've stepped out at times and even have asked somebody to pray. You ever crash and burn with that, or like,
no.
Hey, I'll pray for you, or no?
So I haven't asked them to pray, but I have said, I will be praying for you.
Pray for you. Yeah. That you'll pray for them. Has that ever been like, no, I actually, that makes me uncomfortable or weirded out, or do they usually always accept that?
No, I've just had people say thank you. And then that allows me to come back to them and say, hey, I was thinking about you today. How's that situation? Or how's your mom? Or, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of a doorway. I do have a funny story. Back when I was in HR for Comcast, we had a sales team. We were training. This guy was going through sales training. He took his final test and we caught him cheating. So me and the sales manager had to have this conversation. He was a Christian as well, a Christ follower. And during that conversation, it was almost like your student conversation, Dave. We were able to have a conversation to say, you failed. You can't join our sales team because you cheated. And he was distraught that his parents were going to be, this was an older guy, but that his parents are going to be so ashamed of him, disappointed and all that. And we got to be able to talk with him. Yeah, we got to be able to talk with him about, it doesn't have to be that way. Take this as a learning. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You are okay. You could have taken this test a few times. You chose, and so it was my first really overt kind of opportunity with another person to have that conversation in in a business setting, but it was very unusual, and it was probably my only one that I've ever had that way. Yeah, it was neat. It was really neat, and he was so open to it. But I think he was ready for it, just like you were talking about. I think it's about one-on-one. I'm not responsible for the process of someone getting to know or being introduced to Jesus from start to finish. Maybe I only have a few seconds here, there, every other week, whatever it is. Yeah. So I don't think that we can dismiss our part.
Right. And I think even in some of that, when it comes to discipleship, just self-prayer, not even just for other people, but for yourself, like, Lord, each day, show me, make it abundantly clear, just obvious in front of my face. This person needs some kind of special treatment. This person needs a little bit extra conversation. I felt like that was where I was getting to towards the end of my engineering, even when I deal with Joe Lanzetta as well. But even in some of those times, like just recognizing, like, Lord, show me the exact words You have them. I don't. I definitely don't. But Lord,
Yeah.
you have them. What are they? What are they to kind of plant the seed for the next person, for the next person, for the next person? Or if it is just me walking alongside them for that period of time. Have you guys ever gotten, like, whether it be coworkers, Dave, maybe a little bit easier for this will kind of be my last question, but like, has there been somebody that you would say, hey, this is somebody that is consistently been put in my path to kind of walk alongside or to mentor, not specifically like cracking open the Bible and discipling them through the book of Revelation, but like, like what is it that, an everyday type individual that you've been able to speak to?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, I'm thinking of my coworkers because, the students are always changing every year. So I'll see them for a couple repeat classes, but, after 3 years, they're out.
Yeah.
I get to interact with my department probably the most. And I'm fortunate that, I've got some great people that I work with. And as you guys know, every once in a while, there's some personality issues or some possible things where, you interpret things the wrong way. And I think, sometimes the Lord has just kind of put it on my heart, or patience, or just try to think, well, they have a story, and or they kind of grew up a certain way, or, they communicated a certain way. So rather than just kind of writing somebody off, I try to, I don't know. I'm just thinking there's something in those, there's something with their baggage, that they have that is, that's explaining why they are the way they are. And, just don't write it off too quickly. Just try to, again, it's that whole character thing. I think it's almost like killing them with kindness, So yeah, but I think I'm probably thinking of my coworkers probably the most, not because I think that they're so lost, but just, I think as we're growing over the years, we've kind of talked about our families. We've shared different stories. I mean, I've just mentioned that, my wife and I, we homeschool, which is this huge kind of, well, why do you homeschool?
I hate East. That's why. No, yeah.
Right. So there's been a lot of just opportunities just to share why our faith is so important to us, and why we've made, just certain personal choices like that. So
that's good. Yeah, that's good. What about you, Rose?
I can't think of someone that he consistently puts in my path because I work for a small company, and so I always interact with the same people. But I can tell you that my boss, who, I've been there for about a year, and I think our relationship and constantly giving feedback, changing processes, her giving me feedback, I think that's a challenge for me to say, how do I choose to respond, and how do I choose to provide hard feedback, or how do I take her feedback? And I think that's always a challenge for me to say, that's the one consistent area that I want to be able to, not to say that I need to lie through it, but how will I respond? And how do I choose to respond to her? I think that's always a challenge for me.
Great. Good stuff, guys. Well, thank you guys so much, Rose, Michelle/Dave. Thanks for chiming in here, and appreciate your time, your insight, your feedback. It gave me some stuff to think about, even in the day-to-day throughout the week in the office place, and what that looks like, and what it means to care for people well, and to be able to speak in the way that the Lord has for me each day, to individuals in the way they need to hear it. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you checking in. And guys, thanks for joining us for this Thursday night edition of talking about being a disciple in the workplace. See you guys.
Well, thank you to Nick and Rose and to Dave for sharing with us today. It's so important to remember that we carry Jesus with us everywhere we go, including our workplaces. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to join us next week, and also this weekend at 9 and 11 a.m. on Sunday. You can join us in person or on the live stream.